evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Naspers General Meeting Dinner. How are you all? You all look fantastic. So I believe this is the first year that this is actually a dinner. Before it was a lunch. So it's so lovely that it's a dinner, and that's probably one of the first events actually to take place in this beautiful dining hall. And of course, what a view. I mean, that building is quite sensational. And I would like to introduce our first speaker for the evening, Bob van Dijk, Chief Executive of Naspers, to please come forward.
I'm not actually that tall, I'm just doing this to impress people. I put it way up. So, ladies and gentlemen, dames en heren, a very warm welcome to Cape Town and to this actually very first, as you said correctly, very first AGM dinner. I'm really excited about having all of you here, and I wanted to extend a special welcome to our Naspers board. I think they are represented in good numbers here. Also to our Media 24 board. I've seen many members here, actually some at my table. I was lucky to say hi to, so welcome all of you. Also wanted to extend a welcome to there's many previous award winners, Phil Weber winners here. We're always pleased if you can make it. Very nice to have you here. Tonight is a special celebratory night, and I actually wanted to start off by saying something about the Naspers board. And Ben looks rather surprised at me and said, what is he going to say? But what I've realized over the last few years that we are actually exceptionally lucky with our board. The individual members of the Naspers board are exceptional people, and I think collectively they steer our group in a way that we could frankly not ask for anything better. So they're critical, but they're very passionate, they're forward-looking, and they dare to take risk. And if you look at all boards that run very large companies in the world, I don't think there's many that can actually have those characteristics. So we couldn't ask for anything better. So if you wouldn't mind, please join me in giving a big applause for our board. So I also realized as I was saying that tomorrow morning we have a board meeting. So I might feel very differently tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. Ben has already warned me it's going to be a tough meeting, so we'll see how I feel about this tomorrow. So by now we are a group that operates primarily in the global technology sector. And if you think about what characterizes global technology, it's really about it's a fiercely competitive part of industry. I think the pace of innovation that we see in our world, and pick any market, could be in the US, could be in India, could be in China, the pace of innovation is brutal. And I think what determines the difference between survival and death is really whether you are fast enough, agile enough, and basically humble enough to realize that you need to change, and to be seeing things slightly earlier than others and being there when the world drastically changes around you. So within that environment, what we do as a group, and I think my predecessors have done it extremely well, is focus on the long term. It's very easy to get distracted by things that look good in the short term, do things and be surprised. I think we're focused on long-term returns. We're focused on long-term value creation. I think it served us really well over time. And I think some of the results we've achieved actually prove that. So I think Kushi will say something about that tomorrow, but one of the things that made me really excited about working for Naspers is the ability to change. For those of you who are excited about evolution, as I am, it's not about the strongest doesn't survive, it's actually the creature that's able to adapt, right? That's really, that's at the core of survival. And I think we as a group has changed a lot. So if you go back just a decade ago, Naspers was, for 90% of our revenue was coming from our traditional media business, from Media 24, and from our TV business. If you look at where we are today, and I saw some beautiful graphs from Basil. Where's Basil? Where are you sitting, Bas? Some beautiful graphs from Basil today. Now we are actually more than 80% of our business is from online businesses in a decade's time. I honestly don't know any media company that made that transformation that short a time. Makes an exciting place to be. It makes it a somewhat Somewhat busy place to be, but it's actually what all of us love. Interestingly, if I look ahead maybe 5 years and where I think the company will be, I think we'll be a 100% online company then. And I think two main factors will drive that. First of all, our online business are growing really fast. But second of all, what I'm actually proud to say is that both our Media24 business, and I see Andre sitting there, is a big part of it, our Media24 business is transforming into an online business as well as our multi-choice business. So I think our traditional businesses are also very actively making that transformation, and I think that's something to be really proud of. So if I think about the ambition we have as a group, it's always good to look at where we are today. So at this point in time, and James always reminds me of that, we have about a fifth of the world's population as our customers. And again, that's something to be quite proud of. We help people by giving them better products to inform themselves, entertain themselves, communicate, pay, and even eat by now. And I would say we can do much better than that over time. I think we can actually, if we push ourselves hard, in about 5 years' time, have half the world's population as our customers. So that's my ambition, that's the team's ambition, and I think we can actually make that. So a little bit more down to earth, let me talk a little bit about our financial results. So in the last year has been a good one, and it's thanks to many of the people here in this room. So our revenue grew 39%, and I see Basil grinning in the background. It's impressive because it's not only a high number, but it's also of a higher base than the previous year. And accelerating growth from a high base is very, very hard to do, and thanks to your work, we actually achieved that. Profit grew even faster, it grew about 52%. And we look at a profit measure called core headline earnings. It's a very exciting topic. If you want to catch Basil or Nico during drinks, they can explain exactly how you get from trading profit to core headline earnings. Very exciting. But actually, that measure of performance grew at 75%, which I think is the sign of a group that's delivering on its promises and doing really well. So we have all of you to thank for that. So let's look a little bit at our segments. That's actually where the action happens. At Naspers headquarters, a little action happens. It happens all in the real businesses. So in the last year, there was one of our key e-commerce segments that turned profitable after quite a few years of investing. That's classifieds. I see Martin in the back. You should actually stand up for a second, Martin. So Martin was always called out as the big spender of the group for many years, and he absolutely hated it. At some stage, he came to me and said, "This has got to stop, Bob." And I'm actually really proud to say you actually stopped it yourself by turning a business into a very profitable, exciting business, and a huge compliment to you and your team. And we actually anticipated that happening by awarding Martin the Phil Weber Award last year. Well deserved. But also in other segments, I think we had excellent results. So in our PayU business, in our global payments business, we saw really rapid growth, and at the same time, profitability, the profitability measure improved by 50%. That's really not easy to do and something to be very proud of. We've also have a new big spender in the group. So we invested about 1.4 billion in food delivery. And there's actually one person who is responsible for that. He has the most flashy haircut in the group, and I'm going to ask him to stand up. Larry, where are you? So if you wonder where all the money is going, it's basically going there. And I think there's another business to call out here, and it's more local. So Kim Reed is sitting there, actually being quite modest. His business, Takealot, that I think many of you are customers of, has grown GMV 70% in the last year, if I'm not mistaken. That's impressive. But at the same time, they improved unit economics, something I'm really passionate about. Shows that I'm a nerd, but nevertheless, it's important. And I think you've become a part of the way South Africans like to shop, and I think you're doing a great job. So thanks a lot for that. So with good progress, I think we've also realized that we have further ambitions to grow as a group, and particularly in classifieds, online food delivery and payments, we see a whole lot of further opportunity. And when we realized that, I think we actually realized that when we had our strategy session in Buenos Aires with my team in November last year, we needed more capital to do that. And it was not an easy choice, but we decided to sell 2 percentage points of our Tencent holding to actually free up $10 billion to allow us to accelerate that growth and to fully deliver on the opportunity we see in those core segments. And I think what we still are exceptionally excited about is our Tencent opportunity. I think it's probably the most exciting growth business in the internet in the world. And I think Charles would agree with me. Charles, would you agree? And I think it's probably led by the most capable team of any internet team anywhere in the world today. So a little close to home again, I think our video entertainment business has also done well in the last year. And so they delivered stable results, and they managed to grow in spite of actually still certain countries in Africa having a tough time. So Nigeria currency had a strong devaluation, as had Angola, and still the team managed to stabilize. And I think there's something to be really proud of. And finally, Media24, as Marie is sitting there, I think you managed to deliver a stable year in what I think were just extremely tough circumstances, particularly in the print market. The market's been tough, and I think you've managed to stabilize some of the traditional businesses and at the same time grow the new businesses. And again, something to be really proud of. So finally, and I'll actually stop rambling so you can get down to food. I speak quite a bit about the results that we achieved, and it's a lot to be proud of. And actually, the only reason why I feel comfortable speaking about it is because it allows me to express my gratitude about the people who made it happen. That's all our employees. I think people in the group are passionate. They care about what they do. They go the extra mile, and that's why we are able to show the kind of things that we're showing today. So a big thanks to all our employees. And I realized that I'm probably standing between you and the starter. So I'm going to close off here. Enjoy your starter, and thanks very much.
Are you all feeling good? Hello? We're riding free. You know how I feel. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. Blossom on the trees, you know how I feel. Is it your dawn? Is it your day? Is it your life for me? And I'm feeling good. Butterflies out having fun, you know what I mean, don't you know? Dragonflies day in the sun, you know what I mean. Sleep in peace when day is done.
I would now like to ask you to put your hands together and welcome Koos Becker, Chair of Naspers, to please come forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, goeie vrienden. It's a real honor to have you here tonight because we celebrate achievement. You know, we as a group have never aspired to be adequate. We want to encourage people to be special. Many, many years ago, we had a CEO and a chairman called Phil Weber who exemplified the sort of qualities we'd like to see in people. And we instituted an award in his name, and tonight around the room, you'll see several people who won this prize. And then every year we start anew, and we look through this group of 25,000 people in 130 countries. We say there are many, many adequate achievements and sometimes superb achievements, but who is the most special of them all? And that's what you have here tonight. So as the first of the two winners of the Phil Weber Award, can I call forward David Tudor and Daniel, please.
David has spent many years with the group, and he solved some of the most difficult problems the group has faced. His leadership is felt far beyond just the legal function. He's a great contributor to the overall leadership team.
He's one of the smartest people you'll meet. When I'm around him, I'm forced to be the best version of me.
Very accommodating.
His working style is really a good fit for the group.
So his eloquence and advocacy.
He wants to do the right thing, and that's an important part of Naspers' values.
Okay. David and I and Mark have been in active competition since we were young kids.
Last time we had supper together, we were measuring each other's head circumference.
I'm by far the most intelligent and the most good-looking.
David's not the most athletic of individuals.
I don't think his arms have done serious exercise since junior school.
The best thing about the outdoors is that you can enjoy it from indoors.
He's adopted certain exclamatory words which he tends to use with abundance, things like brilliant or amazing.
That's a brilliant thing. It's amazing because it's fantastic.
David is really a wise old owl. He's actually quite a hoot.
Well, I say now.
He's the most English-speaking, non-English person I know.
That's interesting.
David's always had a very good eye. Let's just say seat 1A on British Airways.
The restaurants.
Loves good wine.
Whiskey.
After a few, he's definitely in storyteller mode.
To make sure everyone's having a good time.
Darling, we need some drink here.
There's never a dull moment in a conversation with David at the table.
Yeah.
David has a very good sense of humor.
Yes.
He has a very infectious laugh.
His laugh is something that is quite unique.
He's absolutely terrified of anyone who's a bit sniffly.
Germaphobe. He certainly likes to carry the hand sanitizer.
You see someone that's ill and he'll be pretty much backed up against the wall trying to avoid you.
When David's not feeling well, he's got a cold or something quite mild, I say, can I get you anything? Do you want a bowl of soup? You know, something like that? And he goes, no, just a glass of wine and some chocolate.
That was a guilty pleasure.
Dave, I'm so happy for you.
Congratulations.
And congrats. Great honor.
Congratulations.
So deserved.
Massive congratulations.
Congratulations on this huge achievement.
I'm very proud of you. I think you've worked really hard for this.
Pleasure to work with you for the last 5 years.
Couldn't have gone to a better person.
You've achieved so much.
Congrats, David.
We know obviously that if Mom and Dad were here too, they'd be tremendously proud of you.
I would like to say, David, I am so happy to be standing here with you this evening. I'm proud of you. I'm grateful to be sharing this moment with you, and it couldn't have happened to somebody I care more for. So, very grateful. If you look outside, I actually would recommend everybody to look outside. So you're not the only people who are aware of the winning situation. So. So big thanks to Faye for organizing this, but now the entire city of Cape Town is aware of the fact that we have a big winner amongst us. So there's many great things to say about David, and for those who don't know, David actually been an internal counsel and external counsel for the group for more than 20 years. David is now general counsel for the group, as you know. Before that, he was general counsel for a business that I was close to, which was the global e-commerce business, and made a phenomenal difference there. But before that, if you look at the history of Naspers in the last 20 years, that David put his stamp on many, many key moments, particularly some really large transactions, both buying but also selling very large assets successfully. Some of them were really close to the edge. So I remember a video entertainment business, a pay TV business in Greece that was sold, and where David played a key role, where the partner had done some things that were slightly unsavory, and we came remarkably close to having most of the pay TV business people in jail. And David's efforts actually kept them out of it, although I think it required blood, sweat, and tears. People are very, very grateful for that, I think, including Kobus and Koos and some other minor players in the company. So David made a massive difference as general counsel. I remember when you started, David, the legal report was about 50 pages. 50 pages of terrifying legal cases. By now we're down to 10. And many of them were tricky, hairy, conspired by our enemies, things that were really, really tough. And you cleaned house in a short amount of time, and it's something to be incredibly proud of. We're very grateful for it. I think you have the ambition to bring it down to one page. I hope you succeed. But I think at least as important, I think under your leadership, we have invested a lot more in forward-looking improvements in the structure of the group, around intellectual property, around privacy, around compliance. And I think that embodies what a really smart person does, because the easiest way to fix a problem is to avoid it. I think we are much better as a group by actually having invested in these programs, and I honestly sleep a whole lot better as a result of it. So David has also led the charge in some of our biggest transactions, our Tencent transaction, our Allegro transaction, some of the things that have really shaped the group. He's done it with grace, and he's done it with efficiency, and he does it usually in a very low-key way, but he's absolutely at the center of everything we do as a group. What I like about the way you operate, David, is that you find the balance between giving room to the many entrepreneurs we have, some crazy people like Fabrizio and Kim, they get the room to operate. At the same time, I know you keep the group safe and with the right level of protection, and that's not an easy balance to strike. Yeah, you've strengthened the team tremendously. I think we have specialists in the team now. You've seen some of them on the video that we didn't have before. I think as a whole, we're just in a much better place than before. And not only we've gotten great people, I think you've also developed people. So we had many young, promising lawyers, particularly in South Africa, that you've given great development opportunities. You've been a champion for employment equity and for diversity. I think you have one of the most diverse teams we have in the group, and I think it's worth commendation. So thank you. So if I ask my team and the key people in the group what they say about David, it's actually quite impressive. I'm sure they wouldn't say that about me. So they say, you're extremely respected, you're calm, you're pragmatic, and you're exceptionally good in a crisis. So the way I've observed it is that where most people panic, you raise an eyebrow. The famous David eyebrow, you may have seen it before, it just goes up a little bit. And other people scream and jump to the corner. So that's impressive. So David is an entrepreneur at heart. He obviously has a big legal mind, otherwise he wouldn't be standing here. But I think he manages to bring that to the table and deliver results consistently. And that's really the spirit of Phil Weber, so you embody it. So we want people with strong ethics, who do the right thing, but also get results. It's those combination of things that I think make a phenomenal leader, and that's what you are. You are a very trusted advisor to the board and to myself. And besides doing that in an exceptionally effective way, you also do it in a pleasant way, which is remarkable. You're a key pillar of the Naspers leadership team, and I'm very proud to be working with you, and you're a very worthy recipient. Thanks, David. Would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Chris. When I was growing up in Cape Town, I could never have thought that I would one day be working for Naspers, much less that I would receive this award. The group supported difficult politics and was rooted in an industry that was already showing the signs of long-term structural challenges, how things have changed. Bob stole the whole chunk of my speech, which you'll be happy to know that I won't repeat, but the Naspers has been utterly transformed into this e-commerce and media powerhouse that we see now, which is forward-looking, diverse, and inclusive. That's a fantastic thing. That's a fantastic transformation. And those of us in the room who've been close to that transformation, we almost take it for granted. But you struggle to find any organization that has changed itself so fundamentally, so consistently, and so often. And it hasn't only survived, but it's also prospered and thrived. That's extraordinary. But this transformation didn't happen by accident. Yes, there has been luck along the way. You can't deny that. But there's also been visionary and very courageous leadership and an awful lot of extremely hard work. That's why I'm honored to receive this award. It is a huge honor to receive an award that has been given to so many of the people who've helped Naspers, helped to shape Naspers into the organization, the extraordinary organization that it is today. I have to let Daniel read my speech, you see, before I speak, and he said that the next part that I'm going to say sounds formulaic, and it sounds like I'm angling for my bonus next year. But I'm also very fortunate to work with fantastic people. Bob is an inspirational leader, and it's tremendously exciting to be part of that senior leadership team. Sometimes as a team, we disagree. Sometimes we even squabble with each other. But I cannot tell you how fantastic it is to work with a really, truly awesome group of people who focused on doing the right thing and building the business. That's fantastic. But I also work with great people in the legal team in the group. The legal function is filled with people who understand their role in protecting the organization and ensuring that the organization defends itself, that it does the right thing. But they also work tremendously hard, and often not in the limelight, to make sure that we achieve the business goals that we've set for ourselves. And although this is a personal award and personal recognition, I'm also very grateful for the recognition that this gives to the legal team and to the work that my team does in the group. And finally, I'm doing actually rather well. I noticed they turned the clock off when Bob spoke, which was great. He could have gone on for a lot longer. In closing, those closest to us, and I think many people here recognize that, those closest to us often see the least desirable aspects of our personality, and sometimes are victims of the stresses that take place in our career. And I'm very fortunate to have a great husband who is not a lawyer, who tolerates my frequent absences in remote parts of the world, post-flight grumpiness, never-ending conference calls that can start in the study, drift out into the garden, feed the dog, come back, and it's just still one, you don't know that's going on, but actually it is. Never-ending conference calls, my occasionally obsessive behavior, and what I think are very infrequent temper tantrums. But Daniel not only tolerates that, but he loves me, and he also never allows me to become too annoyingly pompous or self-important. So thank you all very much. Thank you.